I've been a Viking for 3 years now, and I still can't grow a beard, not even a little one. Just patchy fuzz that makes me look like a teenager who discovered hair for the first time. The other Vikings call me smooth cheeks. It's not a compliment. My journey to becoming history's worst Viking started when I was born into a family of legendary warriors. My father conquered 17 villages before breakfast. My mother once wrestled a bear and won. My older brother Eric once destroyed an entire fleet using only an oar and what he described as pure rage. Then there's me. I get seasick on calm days. The first raid I ever went on was supposed to be simple. We were hitting a small monastery, easy target, no guards, just monks, and probably some gold candlesticks or whatever monks keep lying around. My job was incredibly straightforward. Hold the torch, look intimidating, don't mess up. Guess what happened? I sneezed right as we were sneaking up to the gates. Not a quiet sneeze either, a full, echoing, wake up the entire countryside sneeze. The monks had time to lock the doors, ring the warning bells, and I'm pretty sure one of them wrote a strongly worded letter to his mother about us. We left empty-handed. My crewmates didn't talk to me for a week, but I thought, okay, everyone has a bad first raid. I'll prove myself next time. Next time was worse. We were pillaging a coastal village, and I was assigned to guard the boats. One job: keep an eye on our ships so we have a way home. Simple enough that even I couldn't possibly ruin it, right? Wrong. I saw what I thought was an enemy approaching. Turned out to be a sheep, but in my panic, I cut our boats loose to prevent them from being stolen. They drifted away. All of them. We had to walk home. It took 4 days. Nobody would share their rations with me. I survived on berries and shame. The thing about being a terrible Viking is that you can't just quit. It's not like I can update my resume and pivot to accounting. This is a family business, except the business is violence, and I'm allergic to confrontation. Last month, I was supposed to intimidate a village elder into giving us tribute. I accidentally complimented his decorative pottery for 15 minutes. We became friends. He gave me a bowl. My weapons training hasn't gone better. I've been practicing with an axe for 2 years. My instructor says I hold it like I'm afraid it'll bite me. He's not wrong. During one particularly embarrassing sparring session, I threw my axe at the target, missed completely, and it sailed through the window of the chief's dining hall. It landed in his soup. He was mid-sentence talking about how our clan needed to show more precision in battle. The irony was not lost on anyone. There was this one time I thought I'd finally found my calling. Turns out I'm actually decent at navigation. I can read the stars, understand the currents, plot a course like nobody's business. Finally, something I'm good at. The chief put me in charge of navigating our next expedition. I was so proud. I stayed up all night planning the perfect route. We ended up in Scotland instead of Ireland. They look similar on maps if you're holding the map upside down, which apparently I was. In my defense, there weren't any labels saying this side up. The crew was so angry they made me row the entire way back. Both arms were sore for a month. But here's what nobody tells you about being the worst at something. You can't get any worse. There's nowhere to go but up. And I've been thinking about that a lot lately, especially after what happened last week. Because last week, everything changed. Last week, we raided a monastery. The usual target, except this one had a dragon problem. Not a metaphorical dragon, an actual fire-breathing lizard the size of a longhouse that had been terrorizing the monks for months. The monks were actually relieved to see us. They figured getting pillaged was better than getting incinerated. My crewmates took one look at that dragon and suddenly remembered they had urgent business elsewhere. Checking the boats, counting supplies, rearranging the shields by color, everyone found a reason to be anywhere but near that thing. Except me. I was frozen in fear, which everyone mistook for bravery. The chief clapped me on the shoulder and said this was my moment to prove myself. Great. Wonderful. I'd rather reorganize shields, honestly. The dragon spotted me immediately, locked eyes with me like it knew I was the weak link. It inhaled, preparing to turn me into a Viking-shaped pile of ash. I did what any terrified person would do. I panicked and threw my helmet at it. My helmet bounced off its nose. The dragon looked offended. Then it sneezed. Apparently, dragons can be allergic to cheap metal. Who knew? The sneeze was so powerful it knocked itself backwards into a stone wall. The wall collapsed on top of it. The dragon was fine, just trapped and very confused. The monks started cheering. My crew emerged from their hiding spots looking impressed. The chief declared me a hero. I didn't correct him. Sometimes it's better to let people believe you meant to do something. That night, there was a feast in my honor. First time anyone celebrated something I did that didn't involve apologizing afterwards. They gave me a nickname, Sigurd the Fortunate. Not exactly Sigurd the Fearless, but I'll take it. The chief said I'd finally found my calling, unconventional tactics. I didn't have the heart to tell him it was an accident. That my entire Viking career has been a series of accidents loosely strung together by incompetence and survival instinct. But sitting there, watching my crewmates retell the story with increasingly dramatic embellishments, I realized something. Maybe being good at failing is its own kind of skill. Every disaster I've caused taught me something, mostly what not to do, but still. I've learned patience from all those apologies, humility from all that shame, navigation from getting us lost so many times I had to figure out how to get us unlost, and apparently dragon slaying through sheer dumb luck. The thing about being terrible at everything is that eventually you get comfortable with it. You stop worrying about looking foolish because that ship sailed, drifted away, and I cut it loose by accident 2 years ago. There's freedom in that. When you've already hit rock bottom, you can only bounce up. Will I ever be a legendary warrior? Absolutely not. Will I continue to sneeze at inopportune moments and mistake sheep for enemies? Probably. But I've survived this long, and that counts for something. Plus, I've got a decorative bowl from that village elder. It's actually quite nice. My crew still doesn't entirely trust me with important tasks. Last week, they asked me to sharpen weapons, and I somehow made them duller. I don't understand the physics of it either, but when there's a dragon that needs accidentally defeating, or a situation that requires making the absolute wrong choice that somehow works out, they know who to call. I'm Sigurd. Worst Viking in history, dragon slayer, professional disaster, and honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. Well, maybe I'd prefer fewer walks of shame, and my boat staying attached to shore. But you can't have everything.